Women's fashion gets lots of play from magazines to museums, but now the RISD Museum is looking at the garments of the guys. Its new show, Artist, Rebel, Dandy, considers evolving men's fashion. Jared Bowen takes us there.
Meet the dandy, sometimes in the fashion of flash. More often, he's the substance of style. And he's always an off-the-charts barometer of the bespoke. Who is he? What is he?
We see him as a productive individual, but somebody who is very interested in exploring that powerful bond that we all have between clothing, identity, and self-expression.
The Museum of the Rhode Island School of Design considers more than 2 centuries of men's fashion in its new show, Artist, Rebel, Dandy. There are dapper dons, from the shirts of Oscar Wilde and Mark Twain to those of Andy Warhol. Surprise, his wig is here too. And there are a couple of dapper donnas, like this Ralph Lauren recreation of a Diane Keaton ensemble. These dandies span genders, ages, and the globe.
He's an elusive figure. Sometimes, his intentions can be kind of socio-political. Sometimes his intentions are just to kind of further explore his own art. Sometimes it's really just an extreme interest in craftsmanship, artisanal details, and sometimes it's all of that.
It all started with this guy, Beau Brummel, the original dandy who used tailoring to give himself a class pass, says curator Kate Irvin.
He, through his dress, was able to kind of navigate aristocratic society in Regency London in the early 19th century. He was born outside of the aristocracy and made a statement with his dress and declared who he was and that he had power by wearing very restrained dress, as opposed to the court dress that was really kind of dominated by ornate silks and flourishes, laces.
Those flourishes, by the way, aren't the real hallmark of the dandy. The emasculating caricature of the flamboyant dandy careening toward the clownish was perpetuated by 2 English printmakers taking aim at those without social pedigree.
This equation with femininity really came out of society's discomfort with those outside of the aristocracy who all of a sudden had access to materials, had access to tailoring, and therefore were able to appear as peers of the aristocracy. And that, obviously, that was very disconcerting.
In truth, as the show reveals, throughout history, the true dandy has been considerably more measured. A standout, to be sure, but not outlandish.
Jared Bowen is here. This looks like fun. So, a dandy, it used to be a pejorative term, but more and more men kind of identify themselves through the way they dress, so it's kind of taken a new meaning.
And that's the exact reason that these 2 curators, only one was available to speak with me, but why they did this show, because they wanted to sort of reverse the bastardization of the term and illustrate that this really is about artisanal quality, and it's about a man taking great pride in his appearance. And that's what you see here. It's not, there are some, like the Hello Kitty cloth that comprises one's suit that are a little bit outlandish, but by and large, it's like the Beau Brummel suit. Everything is very, very well tailored. You pay attention to the seams, and you pay attention to the quality of the clothing, and you appreciate these styles. And especially when they have these mannequins, you just go down the row and you see people like Diane Keaton. I think it's great that they included her, and they have Fred Astaire's tuxedo from one of his films.
Any Liberace?
They didn't have any Liberace.
Because it used to be also kind of associated with homosexuality, which is no longer true.
Right, and again, that goes back to these cartoonists from the 1800s who did this deliberately. They resented the fact that the people were able to dress themselves out of class and be able to disguise who they were.
Clark Rockefeller.
Exactly, when they're out on the streets of London.
No, this looks really. I've never been down to the museum there, but it looks really great.
Oh, it's a fantastic museum, and they're in the midst of a whole bunch of renovations right now. But definitely go see the show, and I love the fact that we've been talking about women's clothing for so long, and now it's time for men's. And I brought in my little dandy outfit here with my lining on my
floral
jacket.
line. What is that made of? Silk?
This is silk in here.
Beautiful. Yeah. All right, Dandy Jared, thank you. All right, that is it for Greater Boston. Speaking of fashion, tomorrow it's Bobby's of Boston. If you want it, he has it, from costumes to props to styles of different eras. And later this week, the Boston food truck scene is opening the door to new business ventures like Red Door Food Trucks, which builds and repairs these kitchens on wheels.
We saw that the real opportunity, or the real need, so to speak, was supporting the industry on the whole. So that's kind of where Red Door Trucks came around, is we're going to be an enabler to the industry.
Okay, the economic impact of the mobile food movement. That's Bobby's and food trucks this week on Greater Boston. I'm Emily Rooney. Good night.